should be able to fit one more piece here. And that should be about enough. There we go, more or less. This stuff shrinks easily enough. All right. Hi there. Welcome once again, everybody, to Cast Iron Wednesday here on YouTube, where a whole bunch of cooking channels do cast iron videos on Wednesday. Not many of them seem to do these live videos on Wednesday, so I'm hoping that kind of stands out. But nonetheless, here we are, and yes, this is, of course, a cast iron pan. To be precise, this is a vintage cast iron pan because the 70s are not as new as they used to be. It is a number 10 size, 12.5 inch, well, maybe 12 and 7/16 inch, Birmingham Stove and Range Century Series cast iron skillet. Did I say number 10? It is number 10. And it was manufactured in the mid 1970s. So we are talking 40 to 45 years here. Yeah, I acquired this one just last year, and I've already gotten a fair amount of use out of it. And of course, here we are with some bacon. Welcome, everybody. As I said, Cast Iron Wednesday, and thank you very much for showing up on my channel, where I do my best to try to entertain you and make a fool of myself, and probably both at the same time. Because as the title of tonight's video says, we're talking bacon, bacon, and lie. And here is bacon number 1. Bacon number 2 is in the oven, and that'll be coming out in just a couple minutes as well. And hello to everybody here. Hello to William Hurt and Papa Dan, who says hello, CIC, and Jamie. And Melissa Watson, Pip Gorn, Jeff Colasar, hi. Living a Rogue Life. I'm already making me hungry. Well, yeah, bacon tends to do that. So, Jeff Colasar, got my skillet Tuesday. I'm very glad you like it. So, I want the bunt pan you had in the waiting image. That's going to come in a few minutes, actually. So, and S17, Jeffrey Boyle, Joseph Ortiz. Boy, I'd say, really, if that giveaway worked to get some new people on this channel, well, I'm very grateful. And I'm glad, too, because I'm planning to do another giveaway next week. Yes, here I go. I've just admitted it. My plan is that next Wednesday, here on YouTube Live on Cast Iron Wednesday, we will be doing another giveaway. More details about that will be coming later. Let me flip this, and then we will get to part 2 here. Oh, this is not hot enough anyway. Okay, then we will get to part 2, where, as I mentioned, we're preparing the other kind of bacon, because this is going to be an interesting cake. I've made it, although it's been a few years. Here's the title of it, as it says again in the description. Apple Maple Bacon Cake. Yep, it is a sweet savory cake that combines apples and bacon. Because, hey, why not? You figure when you make pork, apples go good with it. And quite frankly, a lot of people have maple syrup on their sausages and bacon. So, as I said, I have made this before. It is actually quite a delicious cake. The real question for everybody, including myself, is whether that cake is going to stick and be ruined when it comes out of the pan. Well, all we can do is find out. Frank Murillo, so glad to hear. Good to hear from you. Back from duck hunting, bacon looks good. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, good to hear as well from everybody. Papa Dan and Joseph Ortiz, interesting and all the way live. Well, I'm glad you liked the video. So I like bacon on my donuts. Yeah, exactly. It's the savory sweet thing that goes well with these. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And while we're doing that, I mean, I'm also in the middle of this ongoing project to clean up a whole bunch of this cast iron that I've acquired over the past few months, especially after the last month or so of road trips. That's, of course, is where that bunt pan came from, which actually is not a bunt pan, but it is a cake pan. And we will be seeing some more of those things tonight. But right now, let me turn this on. It's time, I guess, to move over to our, well, maybe I should wait until the bacon is done because I don't want to, yeah, I have trouble really trying to do two things at once, and I don't want to end up burning the bacon while I'm preparing the cake. Nonetheless, there are still subjects that we can talk about here that are related to the topic of tonight. As I mentioned, I'm really happy with how how that cake pan turned out. Very excited to be using it again. And in addition, as I mentioned, there are a number of other cast iron pans that I'm going to be cleaning up as well. So yeah, this is hopefully going to be an interesting evening. I will try not to make too many mistakes. Among other things, I should say, got myself a new pair of gloves for the lye tank so that hopefully I will not be getting lye on my hands and burning myself. Yeah, that happened the last couple of weeks. Finally, after last week, no, the week before, after the live, then I filled that glove with water, and oh yeah, it most definitely leaked. There was a very distinct leak right between one of the fingers, and that's where the lye was getting inside before. So I had no choice but to replace it. And that's so fortunately this time when I go into the lye, as I said, I should have full protection, or at least that's my hope. And at least part of this bacon is starting to get to where it's supposed to be. That's one disadvantage, though, of using a very large cast iron skillet on a wimpy stovetop like mine. As you can see, there are, unfortunately, it's uneven heating, and that's probably how this thing became a spinner in the first place. I won't take the blame for that this time. It was actually like that when I found it. But nonetheless, I did not want to pass up BS&R number 10. So all we have to do is rotate the bacon, so to speak. We could rotate it like this. Ooh, that is some bacon, all right. Or we could rotate it like this, both of which would certainly apply. While we're waiting, let's see here. I like bacon on my donuts. Those 6 strips of bacon will start me off on supper. Aren't you going to cook any for you? Yeah. Well, on the other hand, I have been on this weight loss regimen too, and in fact, I've already eaten enough tonight. So this is really going to be a feast for the eyes for everybody, myself included. My hope is that the finished cake looks as good as the one that from a few years ago that you can see in the photo for that cake. And other than that, bacon and tomato sandwiches of late. Oh yeah, I've no complaints. Turn it up. Yeah, I already have the heat up to medium actually. It's only that, as I said, this is a large pan, unfortunately, and the burner does not go completely around, so there is a hotter spot on the inside that is slowly working its way to the outside, and that is one of the disadvantages of cast iron cooking. In that one thing about cast iron is that even heating they talk about is a myth. There are unquestionably hot spots and cold spots. And what you have to do when cooking in cast iron is be aware of that and compensate for that. Although the bacon grease does help, because this is some good hot bacon grease now. And that will help to get this bacon thoroughly cooked. Oh, yeah. Besides, there's nothing wrong with bacon. Well, yeah, I know. Well, in most cases, there's nothing wrong with bacon. Once this is done anyway, the bacon will dry out and crumble, which is what it's going to do because it's going to be a topping for the cake. Well, as I said, while I'm at it, I'll mention as well, again, this pan is from BS&R. So is one of the other pans I'm going to be taking out tonight. Among my travels, I scored another cornbread pan, the famous BS&R cornbread skillet, for $10, which was one that I could not pass up, especially since once that one's cleaned up, I'll probably be giving that one away as well. Probably not next week. I've got something else planned for next week. which I hope you folks find impressive enough. But yeah, it's been pointed out already that the BS&R cornbread skillet really did not exactly save the company from bankruptcy, but did give it its one of its record profit-making years when it was introduced in 1967, and it took off like wildfire against everyone's expectations. It was because of the success of the BS&R cornbread pan that we continue to have these wedge pans, as Lodge calls them, today from a number of different manufacturers, including Asian manufacturers. So BS&R was the inventor of that cornbread skillet, and they certainly did deserve all the credit, well, much of the credit for it. Yeah, if BS&R had actually managed to survive the dark ages of pretty much the 70s through, I guess, through the 90s to 2000s, they would have been amazed here at all the attention they're getting. In fact, those former BS&R employees who are on the internet, they are amazed. I've actually seen magazine interviews with them where they're just flabbergasted with all the praise and attention that their pans from years and decades ago are getting. As they said, we just made frying pans. Well, as anyone can tell you now, this is not just a frying pan. This is an heirloom. This is a piece of history. And I'm very proud to be cooking in a piece of history. Now this bacon looks like it's getting close to being just about done here. So we are doing pretty good here. Yeah, I'm tempted to make a couple more pieces, but I do have to continue and finish the cake. So once this, give me just a few more seconds, then we will take this out to dry. And then we will move on to step 2. After that will come part 3. But yeah, the point being is that there has indeed been a cast iron renaissance over the past decade or so, and I'm very glad to have been a witness to it and a participant in it. I'm not even going to answer that, whether or not I have actually been part of this renaissance, but I will leave that for other people to say. I would rather, Anyway, as I said, I mean, that's because cast iron has become so popular again that a whole bunch of these new startup companies have been producing their own brand new made in the USA cast iron. One of which, of course, was that skillet we gave away in the giveaway last week. And Jeff, well, thank you. I'm very glad to see you again. This is no mark or insult towards you. I do know of a couple of instances where I did a cast iron giveaway. The person took the pan and then we never heard or saw from him or her again. That even happened at the National Cornbread Festival once. Several years ago, the cast iron cooking group, I think it's about time to put this aside. Several years ago, the Cast Iron Cooking Group made several donations to the National Cornbread Festival, and the group came up with this idea of calling it the Iron Heritage Award, basically a merit award in which we would present the winner of that with a vintage cast iron piece. Well, the last time we did this it was a really nice Lodge. Oh, and here's the bacon. The last thing we did was we donated a very nice Lodge deep fryer, the BS&R fish fryer, the deep fryer from the last days when it was being made by Lodge. Let me turn that off. I brought that to the National Cornbread Festival, and we determined the winner of that and gave a wonderful fish fryer to the person who had unfortunately come in 4th place in the actual National Cornbread Cook-Off, which had like $1,000 prize and a whole hundreds and thousands of other prizes and the like. And so she was pretty upset. So even though she got this, she threw a temper tantrum on stage, took the pan, left, and we never heard from her again. And that was the last time we did that award at the National Cornbread Festival, unfortunately. So, in that respect, though, Jeff, I'm very grateful. Well, again, I was very glad to give that to you, and I sincerely hope you enjoy it. And I mean, I will never ask for that pan back. It's yours. And I'm glad to see as well that you are, well, what's a good word? Honest, I guess, that you are enjoying it, I guess. That's really what I'd like to say, can say more than anything else. That's really no mark at all on your integrity. Well, I guess it is a mark towards your integrity, because thank you and welcome again. And yeah, I'd love to see some pictures of cooking in that too, and I think we all would. Having wasted enough time, let's get down to number 2. And let's get up here. Try to get a good view here. Appreciate your patience as always, folks. Yeah. Trying to get as close as I can to this thing. This looks like it's about as close as I'm gonna get. Oh joy. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, what a wonderful professional looking stove countertop this is, isn't it? So far, all I've done is mix together the dry ingredients. And it is very important to mix the dry ingredients because, you have to be sure that air gets into the cake as well. So this is actually a very crucial step. Having done that, though, let's get on with the rest of the show here, shall we? Which means now we start. We've added, 200 salt. Now we got to do 1.5 cups of canola oil. This a lot of oil goes into this cake. Here we are, and it's a good thing too because I'm just about out of canola oil. Well, that's good. That means I can get some fresh canola oil. So I'm gonna have to remember that. 1, 2. It says you're supposed to put the ingredients in this order too, so this is why I'm doing it this way. And 3. And it's just about all of it, my canola oil, almost. Okay, so that's that. Next, 2 cups of sugar. It's interesting that we do the sugar after the canola oil. However, I will again take their word for it. Let's see, I've already used a 1/2 cup, so I guess I'm gonna have to use 1/3 cups. It's gonna have to be 6 of these then. Let me move this mic a little bit closer. Hope it's not drowned out by this thing itself. 1, 2, 3. That's 1 cup. 4. It is odd that I'm supposed to do it in this order, but it worked last time. 5. And 6. Next up will come 3 eggs. 3 eggs. All right, here we go with the eggs. Pop up. The brown eggs in their tough shells. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I'll watch myself. Come on, get shell in there. There we go. That's 3. And all right. Well, that is a leavener as well as what's a good word? Binder, I guess, for the cake. And having done that, now we throw in about, excuse me, sorry about that. About 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, real vanilla extract, that is. I'm going to have to refill this soon. There we go. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm kind of eyeballing it here because it's not as essential. That should be enough. Probably more than enough, in fact. That smells good. Oh yeah, I can smell that. Teaspoon of nutmeg. And then the next ingredient, this is why this thing looks so dry. We're going to be throwing in a ton of apples. About a teaspoon of nutmeg. And now let me quickly get that out of the fridge. As I said, the link to the recipe is in the description. So you can see what they are. All right. Now, 3 cups of grated apples. Yeah, and which I got out the good old reliable box grater. Well, maybe not that reliable. I have a number of words for that box grater. I'm not sure if reliable is one of them. However, that certainly has helped to moisten this cake batter, that's for sure. Finally. And that's about it, in fact. Yeah, now let's see if we can get a better look up here. Now that's looking more like cake batter. So there we go. I think I'll stop it and then start it again just before I'm about to pour the batter. Because now, my bad here. Have to clear up my workspace because something essential and very hot is coming up next. Do not want to cause too much trouble here, especially since Trouble's over there right now playing in his box. This should go in the fridge. I'll be right back. Thank you for waiting as always, folks. Because now we get to play with another toy. And this is the one we saw before, or at least in that video. Okay. Gonna have to do it this way so that I can get it out of the oven. And then I will give you a close-up, I promise. Seriously, Joseph, okay. I would eat that cake batter. Well, maybe a can of butter. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Sounds like angry mosquitoes. Yeah, Shadow Walker. I was thinking the same thing. Do we have any bacon in the house? One Pan Man. I hope your new apartment has a professional studio-looking kitchen. I hope so, too. I'll know when I actually get it. Now, we've got... Nonetheless, what I lack in a studio kitchen, I'm hoping I make up for with the cookware. Namely, this. Here it is. And I did forget one other thing, and that was the... There we go. The other thing I forgot... There we go. Come on. Much better. The other thing I forgot the Crisco. There you are. There's a look at it. Okay. And that's over here. I'm sure there are other folks here whose kitchens are like this, in which case you have my condolences. Yeah, nice studio kitchen would be nice. I will agree there. However, having said all that, there we are. This is, in fact, our vintage cast iron cake pan. As I mentioned in that video, this is actually not a bunt pan. You know, again, Nordic Ware invented the name bunt in 1950 when they trademarked it for their own bunt pan, and they never did make a cast iron bunt pan. So it's only because of the popularity of the bunt pan, thanks to the tunnel of fudge, that pretty much any circular cake pan these days is called a bunt pan. But the name has stuck, even though it's trademarked. And much like the name Xerox, I know Nordicware has some trouble with that because, quite frankly, there are some names that were originally trademarked, but just because of use by so many different companies, those names fell into the public domain and are no longer trademarked. For example, aspirin. Aspirin was originally a trademark name for, what's it called? Acetylsalicylic acid, I think it's called. But because so many companies called it, the original manufacturer, I don't think it was Bayer either. They lost the trademark on it of the name aspirin. And so now any company can call their product aspirin. Hopefully it is aspirin. All right. So with any luck, Nordic should hopefully keep their trademark on the name Bunt. Because after all, they're a decent company. They've made some nice products, like the Bunt pan for one, those sheet pans for another. And having done all that, here's one reason why liquid is good at a kind of pan like this. It gets it into all of the nooks and crannies. And having done that, we move over to the other side here. And give this one more whirl. Keep running back and forth. I apologize for that. Okay. I wonder if the original live cooking shows in the 1950s were like this. Okay, now that we've done that, I've got to move this over just a bit. Apologies again, folks, because, well, I need room to maneuver here. There we are. All right, let's get this out of here as quickly as we can. There are, of course, 2 cups of sugar in this, as well as those very sweet apples. Well, no, they're not sweet apples. They're Granny Smiths, which are great baking apples. And having done all that, get this out of the way. Let us pour the batter, shall we? Whoa. Great. Professional, I am not. All right. That looks like there's going to be a wee bit of batter left over here because this is a smaller cake pan. I don't want it to rise. I don't want it to overflow. So we are probably about where we should be right now. So yeah, we definitely have some extra batter here. Gosh, I guess that means we may have to bake something else. Nonetheless, it's as easy as that because now that that's in the pan, got to move this over again so that there will be room. Where did I? Gloves over here. Ugh. Like I said, a professional, I'm not. Okay, but now for the fun part. Into the oven we go, carefully. And once we do that, close this. Immediately lower the temperature to 350. Oh yeah, got a fun mess to clean up tonight. But what can you do? After all, this is all for you folks. Well, seriously, it is actually. It's entertainment, that's entertainment. Hi, while we're waiting here, let me just check one thing, and that's the cooking time. Prepare, mix ingredients. Splash of white wine. The batter was a little dry. Splash of white wine. Maybe I should have done that. Oh well. Alton Brown. Darn it, where does it say it here? Mix, if a toothpick, it says bake 60 minutes. Okay, we shall probably have to test this by about 45 minutes because it's a smaller pan. So we will start testing it then. Other than that, let's take a moment now. And thank you. Okay, Glock 30 fan. I feel a little weird about using spray shortening on cast iron. Seems it has a residue from the aerosols or something. Maybe it's my imagination. Well, aerosols, yeah, they do have other stuff in them as well. I will not deny that. I am not going to start screaming about PCBs and cancer and all the rest of that. You can read that on other sites. Thank you. I will not say not to use it. I've used it a few times myself. I do kind of prefer the regular stuff, largely because, well, on a hot pan, as you saw, that goes on very easily, and it did cover the entire pan with no difficulty at all. Coke stands for soda pop in the deep south. Hey, peg tooth. I just got back from a walk, and my back was to my tablet. That mixer sounded like crossed phone lines from the 70s. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know. I should probably have the mixer looked at. Knowing me, I'll probably wait until it breaks down, but we will see. About the size of the big ones about here. We used to fight over batter and lick the spoon. Yeah, don't we all? And I certainly hope this batter is good enough. So, um, okay, William Hurt. Maybe you're on top. Maybe you're on top of something. Says William Hurt. Peg tooth. My oven mitts are black like that, but only on one side. When they were given to me, they were white with polka dots. I should, yeah, get new ones. Well, yeah, actually, and these are fairly decent oven mitts as well. I think I got these ones at TJ Maxx, or was it Burlington Coat Factory? I forget which. But I do have a pair of dollar store oven mitts which work fine for a few uses. Beyond that, it says making grilled cheese in a Griswold Erie #8. Enjoying the live, Melissa Watson. Well, thank you very much, and that sounds pretty good as well. Could I use lard instead of Crisco shortening? Well, I don't see why not. It is a very durable grease. Of course, it would impart a different flavor into the cake. There is that question of whether lard might not be too much. Of course, on the other hand, it is going to be a bacon cake, so who knows? I need a Cyber Monday mixer. Now I'm not so sure. We'll see what happens when Cyber Monday rolls around. Also, I do not feel like asking for donations like that. I'm doing okay as it is. In fact, I've got so much stuff. That's why I'm doing these giveaways right now. Nonetheless, I forgot to time this. If it said 60 minutes, it's been about 5 minutes now. So it looks like we're talking maybe about, yeah, that's right, about 20 past 9 or so, just about the time when this thing is going to end. What else is new? How's the new Red Mountain #14 doing? The Red Mountain #14 is out in the lie, in fact. Hopefully in another week or so, it will be able to come out, and then I'll be able to season it and put it through its paces. And I'm looking forward to that too. I'm going to put that up against my good old Stumpy, my Century #14. See what happens from then. Because it's tough to justify having two #14 skillets, but I will burn that bridge when I come to it. Nonetheless, speaking of which, I think it's about time to move on to part 3 of this little show tonight. That means we get to see this in action again. Here comes the lye. I do have a much bigger lye tank that I did not bother filling this year because I was hoping to have gotten an apartment, and that did not seem to work out. Oh well. All right, and so here we are once again. Let me put this aside so it's safe. And not only do we have the lye tanks once again, but look at this, as I promised. New pair of gloves, so that there should not be any problem with leaking this time. So in or on we go. Yeah, the experience of getting lye on my hands each week was not the most pleasant thing, and it's not something I would really wish on anyone. All right, these things do feel kind of thin, though. However, they're latex gloves, and they should do good. Also, they got this little ribbed part here, so hopefully they'll be able to hold up well enough. Okay, to do this, actually, I better move a couple of things out of the sink because these things are going to go into the sink once they come out of the lye. But as I mentioned, here comes part 3, where now we look at the lye tank. I do have a couple of things that I've been meaning to take out because it's time to start preparing these for cooking as well. So, number 1. Yeah, I still have that outer rim here on this lid because I do think it actually kept the seal on better. And it's a good thing, too. Let me move this out here because this one ended up going just about all the way up to the top. Well, it's an excuse to clean my kitchen's floor as well. So, but anyway, let's see what we got tonight. Here's out of the lye. What are we getting this time? Oh, this. Okay. Yeah, nice. Here we are. I think I took it out and put it back in before. This is the BS&R handwritten. It's a number 5 handwritten. So, yeah, this thing looks like it's doing pretty good here. Let me quickly move this over. Here, let's get a view of the sink here, if you don't mind. Because now that we've done this, let's wash this thing off as quickly as we can. Oh, damn it. Yeah. While the lye is still fresh. And this is coming out very nicely. All I'm using is a green scrubby. And lye is water soluble, for the record, so that once this is all washed off, this will be safe. And there we go. Nice scrubbing on the bottom here. A little bit around the sides. And the handle, too. That's going to this in the drain. Nonetheless, there we go. Now we are getting down to bare metal, all right. One more pass around the sides. All right. So, I'd forgotten about this one, but man, this thing looks like it's going to be a nice little piece. Once again, here we have handwritten BS&R number 5B, BX if you notice. I have actually seen several pans with this exact same marking because, again, it was actually written onto the pattern. And so that means it produced several molds and produced an unknown number of these pans. But still, whoops, let's try it this way. Yeah, there we go. I think we've got a nice view right here of the handwriting. This thing can date to the 1930s, maybe even the 1920s. It's hard to tell exactly. Let me very quickly, well, I got to take off the gloves now. And my towels are over here. Ugh, so disorganized. I think I can already smell that cake, though. Oh, yeah. Now that I've done that, notice I'm now holding it with my bare hands here. And no, I'm not even feeling a tingling sensation from the lye. The lye, as I said, is water soluble, washed off nicely. So now that we've done that, I am going to have to very quickly give this a coating of Crisco next so that it does not flash rust. Still, this does not look bit. damn it. Still, this does not look bad at all, if you ask me. Nice little score from Brimfield. Let me quickly grab my rag that is coated with grease and Crisco. All right. What I'm doing right now for the record is I'm just giving this thing a coating in order to prevent oxidation, i.e. flash rust. So it's a thick coating right now. This is not really going to be seasoning, not yet. When the time comes to season this thing, I mean, after all, I've got a cake in the oven, but when the time comes to season this, I will wipe this down and then heat it up to 200 degrees and then coat it with, well, probably with Crisco, the cast iron seasoning that I like so much. But until then, this will prevent rusting. All right. In fact, I can even smear a little bit off the back of the bottom and put it on the top here. I get those corners or edges or whatever you call them. Also the pour spouts. There we go. So as I said, not yet ready for use, but definitely ready for seasoning. And once it's seasoned, this is going to be a nice little prize or user. I'm not sure which yet. Have to do the handle as well. A little bit more from here. There we go. Boy, isn't this exciting on YouTube Live, folks, watching me smear grease all over a 90-year-old cast iron pan. Welcome to the internet, where technology makes anything possible. All right. Nonetheless, this is off to a decent start. Here is the BS&R handwritten number 5. If this thing performs as well as Lightning, my number 7 handwritten, then I'm definitely going to be looking forward to using this. And that is number 1. Let's see. All right, let's check another couple of comments here. Where the mouse is way over here. Now let's check some comments, shall we? Question: does the Lard tank and a tank method identical in terms, and E-tank method identical in terms of results, different ways to the same result? Sort of. The E-tank is superior in one way in that it also removes rust as well as buildup. So the disadvantage, of course, is that the E-tank uses electricity, and so that means it can have an effect on your electric bill. The Lard tank is nice as a set it and forget it. You can literally leave your things in the Lard tank for weeks or months and then take them out whenever you feel like it and clean them off. So that gives you good results right there. The E-tank gives you much faster results, as well as being a rust remover in addition to a dirt and grit remover. So the E-tank is very useful in that respect. Glock 30 fan, Lye does not remove rust, just seasoning and crud. Yes, exactly. Although it's gunk and seasoning in the E-tank, just mud. It's water and slows down rust removal. On the other hand, as I mentioned, the nice thing is the E-tank, again, does not use electricity, and you can really take your time on this. So having said that, move back again. See what else we have here buried in this deep black abyss. All right. And yeah, by the way, my hands are still dry. I did not get any lye on my hands, so I'm doing good here. Next up, no, it's not empty. Ooh, what else am I feeling? No, this is not okay. And this, on the other hand, is, oh yes, a large 3-notch number 8. Let me do this right here. Come on, let's do this right. Where's the view? There we are, number 8. This is probably like a 1940s to 1950s lodge. So let's get that in. Start cleaning that one up as quickly as we can. There we go. Well, you never know what you're gonna dig out of a live tank, do you? Or do I? I mean, I was expecting cookies, and I'm getting these things. Which, by the way, you notice this stuff is coming right off now. There we go. Look at that. There we go. This is coming off very nicely now. Oh yeah, this line is definitely having the effect that we want it to have. It's all just coming right off. Ugh. All right. That didn't take long at all. There we go. Check this one out, folks. A Lodge number 8, probably 1940s to 1950s. No, correction, 1950s. Notice it has an SK mark underneath the 8. So this is probably like a 1950s to 1960s Lodge. And that came off well. And boy, take a look at this. Look at these mill marks here. On the bottom, on the underside here, you might think this is brand new almost. So this is, this, I have no complaints about this one at all. I think this turned out very nice, which means it's time to dry this one off quickly. Put this out of the way. Of course, there's a question is, what am I going to do with this thing since I already have so many number 8 pans? Well, in the near future, I do want to do a Lodge video with examples of Lodge from different timelines. And this is certainly going to fill in one important gap because this is a very nice example of a three notch, I would say, here. And then after that, well, I will have to, well, as I said, now that I'm doing these giveaways, I mean, this may not be a bad little giveaway in itself here. We've got a really nice number 8 Lodge here. Boy, this is nice. I'm actually rather envious. Why am I envious? Because I've got it? Well, I'm envious because I've got all of these other nice pans too. And it's hard to keep them all in rotation and try to bring this one up as well. However, I had very quickly, careful, don't want to drop that. Get this out before it rusts. So we better, oops, shut up. We better coat this as quickly as we can. Especially the underside here. So let's do this here. I do the edges. Yeah, it looks like we're maybe starting to get a little bit of flash rust already, so I definitely have to work fast on this one. But I am actually very impressed. This is turning out to be a very nice specimen of a vintage Lodge here. Careful, do not want to drop this one. A little bit on the underside. And handle. See, this is what we mean by flash rust. You can see it's already starting, which is why I've got to move quickly here. Ugh. Still, this is not a bad score at all. Wonderful. A bit more here on the inside. I repeat, I'm going to be wiping a lot of this off. This is when they talk about a glass smooth surface, this is not a glass smooth surface, mind you. These mill marks, I can actually feel them. It gives it almost like a serrated feel to the surface, almost like those modern day Korean pans. And yet, I doubt anybody would complain about this. Most people would say these mill marks are very attractive. So guess what? It's not exactly a glass smooth surface, even from those days. However, the glass smooth surface is actually overrated, and we've demonstrated that a number of times. Here we go. Much better. Let's do this edge one more time. All right, so once again, I'll do this edge here. At last. But again, check this out. These mill marks are pretty impressive. And I'll say again, this is a number 8 Lodge 3-notch. Unquestionably a Lodge because of the 3 notches here. No doubt about that. Has the number 8, and the SK mark indicates that it's likely 1950s to 1960s. It's a very nice specimen of one, too, if I may say so. Let me put this down. And then come some more comments. Yay! So those are 2 nice pans. At least I think so. I hope other folks are might agree with that. All right. Once again, time for some comments. Clock 30 pans. Are there 3-notch lodge unmarked lodges? My sister has one like that. It's a spinner. There are some. I've seen on the Cast Iron Cooking Group and other places some very rare 3-marked, completely unnotched lodges, 3-notched, unmarked lodges that do not even have a size number on them. You figure, or at least this is my theory, Lodge mass produces these pans. They've been mass producing them for decades, over 100 years, over a century. And for most of their run, what were they? They were frying pans. They were cheap, considered disposable, even though they were made of cast iron. And nobody really cared very much about them, except for Lodge, which had its quality standards. But if a little glitch like that appeared where, for whatever reason, somebody forgot to put the number 8 mark on the pattern, resulting in some completely unmarked lodges being produced, who cared? It was a cast iron pan. They could just put it on the pile and ship it off for selling. So for little things like that, the answer to that would be yes. At least that is my theory. My number 3 Lodge has no SK. Is it a 1940s vintage? I would say yes. There are other Lodge experts who would disagree and say it may also be a 50s to 60s, and maybe they're right. Without absolute proof, I would just give it a general classification, and I would say yes to 1940s or so. Maybe a later vintage. The milling might make the seasoning stick better then. Yeah, it certainly might. Shadow Walker XM. I've always used an E-tank. Easy to set up, easy to use, and you can literally pour what's left anywhere you want. Maybe it's just me, but lye worries me. Well, I find lye to be safe when I use it, but you're right in every respect there about the E-tank. The E-tank is very useful and very convenient like that. Jeff, keep looking. Estate sales, swap meets, and flea markets. Shadow Walker. I saw an earlier 3-notch lodge with the size only 8 but no other markings, which generally would mean 1940s to me. I've just started collecting, found some nicer stuff, found some nice stuff this weekend. Just jealous. Would love to find a waffle maker. Well, I hope you could use a waffle maker, yeah. Regarding these 3-notch lodges, I have a theory as well. You figure a lot of the single-notch lodges from the 1910s up to the 1930s or so, I think they were lost. in the scrap iron drives of World War I and World War II, when people got rid of a lot of old frying pans. In addition, the Depression hit during the 30s, and Lodge actually decreased production in that respect. Between those two things, I would say the single notch Lodge is a lot more rare for that reason. On the other hand, with World War II over, Lodge was able to ramp up production. And so that meant they were able to produce a lot more pans. And so as a result, we see a lot more of those pans from the 40s and 50s and 60s and so forth. Again, that's my theory. You could probably bring that up to somebody at Lodge, and they may or may not disagree with it. Josh Riston, I just got a Lodge rectangular roaster with a griddle lid. Nice. I'm having a hard time finding any info on it. It is smaller than a fish fryer, but same size and has a lid. Yes, I have seen those. And yes, you're right. The smaller one did have a lid. The large fish fryer never did have a lid. My understanding is Lodge went to mass production and automated production in the 50s, maybe almost a decade or so before BS&R went to automated production. And when they did that, they were able to vastly increase their amount of production. In fact, the milled surface on this Lodge number 8 that I pulled out may very well mean that it was part of that automated production and not handmade. So because they were able to vastly increase their output, that's when they started branching out and producing a lot of pans that we did not see before that, such as the Lodge fish fryer. And for that reason, I might estimate your rectangular Lodge fish fryer to be, well, as early as the 50s, perhaps. Your identification video helped me identify our 1950s-60s Wagner number 8 and a smaller BS&R skillet. Well, thank you, and you're welcome. Yeah, Nafkes. Praise Bob. Praise Bob. Well, thank you very much. My wife inherited from her father, who was born in 1918, a 3-notch unmarked Lodge with an 8 on the bottom of the skillet. Well, if it's 3-notch, then I would still have to say it's Lodge. I don't believe BS&R ever did those. A photo of that would be interesting, though. It would be nice. So you don't have to go out your way, but if you send along a photo one of these days, I would very much appreciate it. And having said that, let's get on now. There's still stuff in this tank here. So let's see what else we have. So this has been an interesting night so far. Let's keep digging. Let's uncover some buried treasure. See what else is in here. Yay for these new gloves. All right, here we go again. And, oh, there is something down here at the bottom. Oh yeah, that's right, this. This is, in fact, a Taiwan lid. This is definitely the Finger Hut series. You know, those cast iron saucepans with the wooden handles. However, this is a very large one. This is probably like a number 7 size or so. So I considered it to be a nice lid, Asian made or not. Lids are rare, and it's always a good idea to grab stray lids if you can help it. Quickly scrub this off. The handle shape of this lid is pretty unmistakable. That's how I am certain that this is the Taiwan-made lid. I've also seen a bunch of these already. Curious how this seems to have some stains on it. Nonetheless, we will give it the same treatment because a lid is a lid. If the lid fits, wear it. So let's once again dry this thing off, at least quickly. It does not have to be bone dry, mind you, just good enough because I'm putting it on a hot stove to dry off. Once the Crisco is on it, that is. And I have no doubt at all that I can find something that this lid will fit. if need be, this lid would also make a nice gift because, again, like I said, lids are rare. So a nice sized lid like this is nothing to complain about. And it's worth mentioning, of course, that Asian-made cast iron is safe. That has been gone over many times. I'm also not interested in politics about China versus the U.S. Hello. Besides, this could be decades old anyways. So whatever. So it's not like any. It's not like the money I paid for this at a flea market went back to China. So in no way has China benefited from my getting a used Taiwan-made, not China-made, lid at a flea market. As such, as I said, I have no qualms whatsoever with cleaning this thing up and using it. I do believe that cleans out the first tank. Let me put this aside. Yeah, cleaning up stuff here. And yes, I promise you I will be getting rid of a lot of this once it's all cleaned up. Oh, you laugh. I heard that. I did get rid of something last week. It'll just take a while. Hey, Christmas is... Yeah. I'm working on it. Okay. My number 8 single notch lodge has a raised W at the 6 o'clock position at 90 degrees. That's probably like a maker's mark or a second shift mark or something like that. It's the same reason why some of those lodges have a heart on them. I just gave away a wooden handle pan with that lid too to a friend. Moose, I think they made both. Personally, see no notch arc and a 1-notch arc on eBay. Not sure of production dates. Yeah, there are better lodge experts than I am. There are a couple of Facebook groups, especially for lodge users and collectors, and they would be able to answer that much, much better than I can. I do believe this tank is empty, which means now let's break out the other one. All right, now here comes number 2. This is the one that was empty last time, is definitely not empty this time. Right? Oh no, there's something in here, don't worry. Yeah. In fact, there's something. We've got a couple of somethings. It's getting lye all over the place too, but then again, that's why I have these paper, this paper laid down here. Okay, come on, there we go. Here it is, as promised. BS&R cornbread skillet. It is a patent pending skillet too. So, oh yeah. Let's get this thing washed off. Hold on, let me change my view here. By now, I can actually smell something nice coming from the oven too. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's interesting how this cast iron can still be stained even after all this time in the lye. And I know there are reasons for it. I forget it off the top of my head, I have to say. Nonetheless, there we go. All right, a little bit off the here too. That didn't take long at all. Anyway, this is the famous BS&R cornbread skillet with the patent pending mark. I'm not sure if this shows up well on the in the camera, unfortunately. Yeah, let me do this and give it a little bit of scrubbing. It actually helps a little bit. Anyway, yeah. I do intend on doing this in a giveaway in the near future as well. Especially because Jamie said, when I said I'm going to be getting rid of these things. Because, yeah, I have too much cast iron. I don't deny that. Anyway, there we are with a BS&R cornbread skillet. The famous cornbread skillet that took the cast iron world by storm, created a sensation that continues even today. And I'm not kidding either. After all, even today, Lard sells its 8-section wedge pan, which they produced especially to compete with this skillet. Asian makers make this. And so did Wagner. Wagner made a cornbread skillet. I think Griswold did as well. No, I don't believe Griswold did. At that point, this was the 60s. Griswold was owned by Wagner, and Textron owned both of them. Nonetheless, here we are with a BS&R cornbread skillet. Let's get this thing coated very quickly, shall we? Here's the rag. Oh, yeah. Ugh. What a lovely view here. Cleaning cast iron is such a messy job. Still, the end result is worth it. Because this is a pan that is potentially as old as I am. And this will make, if I don't give it away in a giveaway, this will make a nice Christmas present. I could think of a couple of people already who might like something like this for Christmas. I got this completely out of view. I'm sorry. Oh boy. Oh yeah. A little bit here, a little bit there. In their hair. Thank you for waiting, folks. All right. So let's put this down. I'm a little tired here. At this point, we have maybe about 15 minutes before we start checking the cake. All right. Thank you for waiting. All right, never too much cast iron, just not enough places to put it. Yeah, that's the real problem. Definitely Shadow Walker. I don't do wedge pans or cornstick pans. I mean, I have, but I avoid them like the plague now. I give them away too. Yeah, Glock. Yeah, Lodge has the hole in the middle. Exactly. Melinda Butler. I have been good to my Dutch oven, but it has a reddish ring around the top, about 2.5 inches deep. Any thoughts as how to fix it? I might suggest you may consider possibly stripping and re-seasoning it. Pretty much like we're doing now with this lye tank tonight, for instance. You may completely do that and then give it a good scrubbing with barkeeper spray to remove the rust. And then you can season it evenly all over. Lodge has them. You can pick one up without the handle at Cracker Barrel. I already have them, but I'd like to have it for Christmas. Nice unmolested BS&R cornbread skillet on Craigslist Dallas currently. Somebody needs to get it. I'm not sure what you mean by unmolested, but I'm hoping that means simply untouched or that hasn't been ruined with a sander or the like. And we are doing pretty good here. Now, as I mentioned, in a few minutes or so, it's going to be time to start checking the cake. So I'm actually quite happy about that. And boy, I know that there's something else in here too. So in a way, we're not quite done. Let me do this one more time. And then from there, we will move on to the next and probably final step of this evening. Thank you once again for everybody who has shown up and who continues to show up. I can only hope again that this is reasonably entertaining. All right, that means, clean this out a little bit. Okay, let's head for the last one, shall we? Which is, I'm on. Here it is. This is the John Wright Santa Claus cookie mold. And also in here, the other one. Here it is. The John Wright. That's interesting. I wonder what this little tab is here on the top. The John Wright animal cracker mold. So these are two pans that I picked up. This is interesting. I noticed this little white tab here on the top. It was there even when I picked it up. Anyway, these two here, I did pick up especially to do giveaways that I will be doing just around in time for the holidays. In that you will be seeing more of these, especially once we get them all cleaned up here. Careful, don't want to splash all over the place here. John Wright pans were actually coated. They had some kind of a coating on them, which helps. But the coating does wear off, and they do still develop a rust as a result. That's why there is still rust on the edges of this thing. Doesn't help. And I'm splashing water all over the place too. Nonetheless, we are doing pretty good here. Now, let me do it this way. Let's throw in just a little bit of Dawn dish soap. Nothing fancier than Dawn dish soap. Because this is a pretty decent, very light rust remover in itself. Let's get it out of the nooks and crannies. There we are. A sleigh full of toys, it says here. The sleigh, yeah, this quality of this video is terrible. A sleigh full of toys. Anyway, that's one. Whew, I'm kind of tired myself. Nonetheless, we will get these going. Because once these things are cleaned up, we will be seeing more of these John Wright pans. I'll be talking more about those very shortly, I think. However, having done that, dish soap, I hear you losing subs and getting thumbs down. Yeah, I know. What is it about washing cast iron with soap? Well, remember, this just came out of a lye tank. It's not like I'm doing a daily scrubbing here. Some people do that, in fact, but dish soap actually can also help to remove flash rust. And for an initial cleaning, I don't have any problem at all with that because, of course, it is water soluble and it rinses off very nicely. Having said that, though, clean this up a little bit. And then from there, let's move on to the last step. And hopefully the climax, I guess you could say, of this little scenario tonight. Let me very quickly get some of my stuff out of the way here. I'm making such a wonderful mess. Clean up a little bit. Anyway, as I said, a professional, I'm not. I will be the first to admit that. All right. While we're waiting here, let's move back to here, where I do have, unfortunately, a little bit of that leftover cake batter to clean up.
It smells delicious in here.
Except for the lye on the floor.
You can't smell that.
Yeah.
All I can smell is apples. The whole house smells like apples.
Well, that's a good thing.
It smells so good.
Well, we're about to see if the cake is done.
Oh, okay, great. I can't wait. Yes, cake.
Yeah.
Just in time.
All right. Okay, there we go. Thank you for waiting once again, folks. May or may not be done. My hope is that it is. Yeah, it's been about 45 minutes at this point. So, sometimes it's a good idea to use soap. Season up a pan well, then butter the skillet before adding the cornbread mix. Yes, exactly. Is there any problem with using Dawn, Ultra, or Platinum? I do not know enough about Dawn, different kinds of Dawn soap. I get my Dawn soap from the dollar store. I will be the first to admit that. And I've had no problem using regular old Dawn soap. I suspect the fancy names like Platinum and the like are just that, fancy names, and there really isn't that much difference in terms of quality. But nonetheless, let's see what happens when we take, oh my, folks, all I can say is, let's do this nice and careful, and you know what, I don't think it's done yet. I'd say it is not done yet. Even so, that's a nice little cake there. I think this has got to go back into the oven for at least another 5 minutes. You can tell even from the top. Granted, it has all those apples, I admit that, but still. This thing rose very nicely, too. Wow. Just look at this. Okay, I gotta be careful here. Do not want to drop it. There we go. And we're back in. Hope the cake didn't fall because of that. Still, that was a nice little preview of the cake, I think. All right. There we go. Let's take another look at our BS&R number 10, along with the other pans, while we answer some comments. Oh, man. Like I said, I'm new. Well, welcome very much to this channel, Melinda Butler. As you can see, as I've said already, a professional I am not. What I hope to be is an entertainer, for better or for worse. For a nice crust, heat the oil in the pan as the oven heats up, then pour the excess hot oil into the batter and pour the batter back in. Yeah, that's how I like to cook cake with a cast iron cake pan as well as cornbread. So I got the idea from making cornbread. Oh yeah, wait till you see the junk cookie. I think you'll like that. The garbage cookie, rather. It's called garbage cookie. Take a look and you will see what it is. You will see. You know what they call a cake that fell? They call it cake. Yes, they do. Or they call it cobbler, which works as well. Still, I'm hoping that this cake does not fall. Excellent video. Okay. This channel has a video on skillet cornbread in the oven. Oh yeah, I love making cornbread as well, and it's been a little while. I've got so many projects I still have to catch up on, I'm afraid. So, and see the video on making cornbread. Yeah, season up a pan. Oh, I see. This all has to do with asking about making cornbread. Once you've made cornbread in cast iron, I think you'll see that there's really no other way to do it. And I certainly will not suggest any other way, that's for sure. My MasterChef skillet totally looks like a Lard knockoff. Yeah, isn't that funny? That so many of these, especially if you look on places like Amazon, for instance, there are a lot of places now making these so-called inexpensive cast iron skillets that all seem to look exactly like the Lard pan. And yet the elite cast iron skillets, all the ones that all cost $90, $100 or so. They all push it themselves by bashing Lodge and its so-called rough surface. Yeah, that's a subject for another discussion, I think. That's for sure. I have a section cast iron pan. What a pain it is to clean. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That is one thing I will not disagree with you on about either. The BS&R cornbread pan, when it first came out, they actually put a label on it that said, easy to clean. Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but that I think I may question for that very same reason. Yeah. Nonetheless, it's not the cookware that makes the entertainment, it's the chaos. Well, yeah, I guess you could say that as well, and that's one good reason why this place is called Cast Iron Chaos. It makes 10 variations of cornbread at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a little above my lack of talent as well. Searing steaks and cornbread are owned by Cast Iron. Brian G. No arguments there. I mean, if there's one thing that even compares with the grill, it would be searing a steak in a cast iron pan. Wait till you try. If you haven't tried it, you certainly should. And let's see. Even so, we are getting on into our time here. I'm betting barkeeper's friend and the clean grill pans. Oh yeah. Do the cornbread pans cook better with the hole capped or open or the same? I have not. Okay, the hole supposedly allows for better conduction of heat. I question that. I'm thinking more likely it's a marketing thing to differentiate the Lodge pan from the BS&R pan more than anything else. And because they started making it like that, that's how they kept doing it. Yes, barkeeper's friend. Yeah, I actually didn't even have a chance to break that out tonight, but we'll be doing that in a couple of weeks. I guess let me sum this up now, folks, because I seem to be rambling here and I don't want to waste your time. I will say again, next week I am going to be doing another cast iron giveaway because, well, we are in October, and what is October? Well, as you know, as everybody knows very well, October is the month of Halloween. And what do we see on Halloween? Well, gee, we see, of course, witches and their cauldrons. So it may very well be that next week I'm going to be giving away a cast iron cauldron, or more precisely, a Dutch oven. Which is a cauldron, in fact, but it is not a vintage 19th century cauldron, I'm sorry to say. I do not have one of those to spare. I have a couple of them, and I'm very proud of them. I'm not going to be giving them away. But what you are going to see is a very large and very heavy Dutch oven that I will be giving away 1 week from tonight on YouTube Live. So if folks feel that they may have use for it, well, then I do hope you show up next week on YouTube Live, where once again we do a cast iron giveaway. I think the last week turned out pretty well, too. I think I will only say one thing. The secret word next week is not going to be bacon.
She's all happy.
Oh, good.
How's the cake looking? 2 more minutes left.
I think we should probably check it right about now, in fact. Because,
that's done.
Okay, you think so? All right, close that then. Let me pull it out. And once we pull it out, we'll be able to call it a night. Because we're going to have to let it sit. But nonetheless, thank you for telling me that. I've got a mess to clean up anyway.
That bad boy is done.
Oh, it is looking much more done now, yes. Yeah. Oh, do you want these? Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much.
Nope, I got it.
Thank you very, very much. Close that, and now let's get a close-up.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Deville.
Yeah. There we
look
are.
how pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we should put some crushed sugar on top. Should we?
What?
Crystallized sugar.
It's still hot.
So where is it?
It's on the top shelf.
Oh, shit.
Oh, well, sorry. Nonetheless.
We got green. Green goes with it.
Oh. With apple? Yeah. Well, I guess. Oh, you want it on top while it's still hot?
Yeah.
All right. Oops, sorry. There we go.
Yeah, because we'll kind of like, we usually bacon into it, but it's the sparkly sugar. It's the Wilton's sugar sprinkles.
Mm-hmm. Nonetheless.
I don't see the white, so I can't.
All right. Well, actually, after this though, we're going to actually put a glaze on it and then put bacon on it. So
Bacon.
yes, exactly. But nonetheless, there we go. That actually rose pretty darn good, I'd say. And that means in about another 15 to 20 minutes, it'll be time to flip. I'm not asking everybody to stay here for another 20 minutes. So yes, it is.
This is the bottom.
Yes, it is.
I made it look pretty, at least for right now, while it's in the thing.
That's true. So
that's the bottom of the cake, Marty.
yeah.
There's your little Copernicus over here.
Don't worry. All right.
Hey,
Anyway, yeah. Once the cake comes out, I will be sure to show everybody. And nonetheless, though, I appreciate once again everybody for stopping by for another interesting. I hope it was interesting anyway, because again, we made a cake, we made some bacon, and we cleaned up some more cast iron, which means this weekend I'm going to be doing some seasoning. And as I promised, next week we will be giving away a Dutch oven or a cauldron, whichever you want to call it. They're both technically correct. Having said that, though, thank you very much. Seriously, it's really, you folks showing up and watching is what makes this all a lot of fun and makes it all worth it. I can only thank you so much, honestly. And as I said, really, that's one reason why I'm not asking for donations, because I just enjoy the entertainment as much as you do. It's a lot of fun putting these on. And above all else, I really hope you're enjoying yourself. Learning something would be nice, but especially I hope you're enjoying yourself. So all I can say right now, as always, is thank you very much for watching, folks. And once again, see you next Wednesday.